Welcome back to KGAY, Gay Radio. Where the tunes are bruising and the boys are cruising. G-A-Y.
That's gay. Welcome back to Gay Radio. My name is Bruiser. We're here talking about the manliest shit possible. That's sucking some dick and pounding some cowboy booty hole. Nothing better than it. You think anything is... What's more manly than that? A chick? Chick stuff? Pussy! Real men. Fuck men. Fight me, bro. Changed my mind. Welcome to the program. Good to see you again.
It's good to be here. Funny story. We actually have a friend that said something very similar to that. I guess we can't really use names in here, but I remember we were riding to the skate park in Valdosta when I was 16. His name rhymes with yeah. He dead serious looks me in the face while we're driving. He's driving the car, by the way. I'm a prisoner in this vehicle. He looks at me and he says, "What's the manliest thing you could ever do? To rape another guy."
What the fuck?
Like, all I could think the whole time was like, you don't have to do this, man. Let's just go skate and have fun.
So was he an inline man or was he a kind of a four-wheel?
I don't remember if he even did anything. I just think he kind of hung out. I was a rollerblade guy at the time, though. Doing my 6 spins and shit. Impressing all the dudes.
What was that old? There was like some old movie in the 90s, like some Devon Sawa type thing where it's like
You can't blade with the rest of us. Who are you, new kid who blades?
So it was like Footloose, but for, they didn't have feet. They had wheels at the bottom.
The new kid shows up to the skate park with like the old roller rink skates, like the 4 in a square pattern, and he says, "Well, hey guys.
Who are you?"
My mom got me these for Christmas. Can I hang out?
What business do you have at our skate park?
It was good times, man. Did you ever go over there?
A skate park?
Yeah. Well, you didn't skate, but you
no.
hung out there a lot.
I don't think I ever went to...
We were street toughs.
Up to no good. I had enough trouble with like a bicycle growing up, and like even whenever I was like a scrawny fella, just like grace and balance have never really been my forte. I think I got like the recessive gene of that or something. But I got one time the gnarliest, I guess, bike accident I had. We had these hills like all around, so I grew up on a hillside. So in the side of the yard, there was part of this hillside come down from the main road. So we'd ride our bike down this steep incline, and there was a little bit of a lift at the bottom of the hill, so you could like whoop and like alley-oop.
Yeah, sick ramp.
Yeah. All natural at that. But this one time, I guess I allied more than I oomphed, or vice versa. So I flip up, the bike shoots out from underneath me and just goes flying into the air, as do I. As I land on my head, and the bicycle then lands on my head as well. And yeah, hurt like a son of a bitch.
Were there a lot of people watching?
My brother was out there. He runs to the house, and I feel my head, and I've got a Wile E. Coyote pump knot, like the size of an egg, sticking out. So like I think I'm like 9. So I don't have too good of a grasp on the world, but enough, So I think that I've cracked my skull, and my brains are actually leaking out, and my skin is holding it in there.
So that can't happen.
That's what I've heard. So my brother like runs into the house. He's like tells him the news, and they're like oh gosh, is he okay? Is he bleeding? I wasn't bleeding, like not one drop of blood at all, but I was like concussed. So my brother and I were just like killing time because he had just won like an award for some essay he wrote about an inspirational leader, and it was like first in the nation, right? And so we had like an hour to kill. We were outside riding our bikes, and now this has happened. So my parents are like in their like Sunday best, and here I am with this egg sticking out of my face. So they, I think my mom takes me to the doctor. My dad takes my brother to this award ceremony. So in the middle of the award ceremony, we walk in and this like kind of loud noise happens, and everyone sort of turns and just sees me with this giant egg sticking out of my face.
Well, too bad that essay wasn't on first aid. Right, folks? Good to be here.
This is the most awkward start imaginable. Well, probably not imaginable.
Yeah, I don't know how to segue this into the Bigfoot talk that we wanted to do, but...
Well, we started off pretty...
Do you know who doesn't ride bikes?
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, that's right.
Yeah. I've never once seen a Sasquatch on a bicycle nor a tricycle.
I don't think anybody has, as a matter of fact.
I mean, they're... I'm not saying it's not possible. You and I watched Loy Pie, Everything You Know Is Wrong, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not
And
sure.
we were talking about, at the end, he's talking about human origins, and he based a lot of it off of Anunnaki texts. And you had remarked, you're like actually, since this was made, they've had other people translate.
Oh, yeah,
like,
because the guy who initially translated that shit basically had no experience in translating anything and kind of just made it all up to suit what he wanted. What was his name? I'll think of it in a minute. Continue.
Well, as I think from there it also led to what was it, debunking ancient aliens?
Oh, yeah, which is like my favorite thing on earth to watch.
It's
I've watched
awesome.
it like 20 times.
It's awesome because like so much of what they point to as far as their points of reference are this one guy like who was essentially a sci-fi like kind of fantasy writer, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Who based all of his stuff on a heap of nothing.
His imagination.
That's essentially what it boils down to, and that even like these. I don't think necessarily all the folks involved on the show are like malicious or anything, but it's
Sitchin. That was his name. Zachariah Sitchin.
Sitchin.
Yeah. You guys don't Google that because I'm not 100% sure. So just trust me.
Young Jamie, can we get a Google search for Zachariah Sitchin?
Joe, could you pull that up? Yeah, just pull that up.
Ain't it the life?
That's him.
Hey, 1 for 1. All right. Can we edit in like some applause at that point?
Sure.
Cool, thanks.
By this point, the audience has found out that I've put booze in its place.
All right, so anyway, yeah, what were you saying?
No, we were talking about fourth wall breaking, like as far as like how you find a segue to start talking about like Sasquatch and humanoid weird shit, you know.
Important things.
I find to be fascinating, personally speaking.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So, how different the night sky whenever you're out at sea is it than whenever you're on land?
You know, I wish I could tell you, but unfortunately, my job in the Navy pretty much kept me away from the outside of the ship. I was kind of on the inside for months straight. I only got a couple of chances to go out there and look, but yeah, it's super beautiful. And one of my favorite things I've ever seen was, you know, like the bioluminescent plankton, right? Well, when it gets disturbed, it like all lights up and stuff. So we're in the middle of the Mediterranean and we're going through a big sea of that stuff, and there's just this giant highlighter green trail behind the ship of that, and that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
That's
Next
awesome.
to when we discharge all the shit from the side of the ship. That's pretty cool too.
All the poo?
Yeah,
But that's a lot of poo.
that's a lot. That's a lot of poo. Yeah. The best part of that is when they were discharging it and did like a big circle. So there's this giant net of shit water, right? And we're like floating in the middle of it, and that's when they decide they're gonna have a swim call.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was great. I love the Navy. You guys should join. Go Navy.com. Tell them Big Justin sent you.
Do you get a referral bonus from that?
No, not at all.
That's a
In
bummer.
fact, if anybody asked me if they should join the Navy, I'd probably tell them no.
That's given you so much experience and it's made you who you are today.
I'm not sure people would call that a good thing, though. But yeah, I mean, it's done a lot for me. I got some discipline and shit now that I didn't have before.
Yeah, that was good.
Some might
your shitbag tendencies went way down.
Yeah, steady paycheck, job security, all that. It's pretty good. The moving sucks. I don't like moving. Trying to plant some roots. Can't do that.
You think you're gonna stick it out as a go to, I don't know, maybe officer school or anything?
No,
like
I've pretty much made up my mind at this point that I'm done with it. So next year will be 13 years in, and I'm probably gonna call it quits. So I'm gonna do some civilian stuff with my job and make a lot more money and a lot less bullshit along with it. Move to the Northeast, open up that bed and breakfast I've always dreamed of.
Where was it? You had showed me. It's like that island in Maine.
Yep.
There's like some island in Maine that was for sale for like something not a ridiculous amount for an island. It was like
it
200.
wasn't just an island. Okay, it was a resort type. I mean,
the resort came with
in
it.
quotes, resort was basically like a shitty old motel. It was like being pitched as a 13-bedroom, 14-bath house right on like the border of Maine and Canada. And it included like a little island in the middle of the whatever river that is.
St. Lawrence?
I don't know. Saint something probably. It was like 40 acres. This big giant place had a restaurant, a big like, I don't want to use the word ballroom. Podunk backwoods Maine. I don't think they have any ballrooms, but
check out the ballroom.
Like a reception area place where people could have like little events and shit. And it was like $250,000. And when you see that price, you're like, you know what? I could just start a new life. I could just move to Maine and become a, what would you call that? Hotelier? Hoteler?
A hoteler?
Hotelman.
Hotel person.
Yeah, I could dedicate my life to that, I think, for that low price. It must be haunted or something, though. $250,000 for like a quote-unquote resort with an island? Something's wrong there.
Maybe. Or maybe whoever owns it now got such a horrible deal with it that they're forced to have to sell it for such a low price.
Could be. But yeah, I mean, there's a business opportunity for somebody out there. Go buy yourself a resort and start a new life in Maine/Canada.
I don't think we really grasp a lot of times, just like, especially here in the South, because a lot of our cities are, more so even not even the South, just on the East Coast in general, cities are a lot more condensed, or a little more closely together than, like, once you get out west past the Mississippi, like, everything just starts getting, like, very sparse. Like, you start seeing road maps where now the roads are starting to finger themselves out, you know what I mean? Like, they're spreading out further.
Yeah, I have no experience with that at all. Like, I've pretty much been in the Southeast and that's it, So the whole idea of basically, like, I had this romantic idea in my head that somewhere up in like Maine is the place for me, and I would love it, and my life would be great up there. And in reality, I know I would get there and I'm like, this shit is fucking cold. I mean, I have to drive an hour to get to. I don't even. What kind of grocery stores do they even have there?
I don't know. I've never been to Maine.
Piggly Wiggly? I'm not sure. Kroger's?
I don't think they have a Publix up there.
Do I have to farm my own fruits and vegetables? I don't know. These are questions I need answers.
Especially if you're going to buy a resort, because I thought it was just the island. I didn't realize there was a resort with it as well. And even in my mind, I'm like, $250,000 for an island, and this was a big island. Like,
yeah, and then you throw in like a hotel and a restaurant and all that kind of stuff with it. Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's split it.
Pay for itself.
Yeah, it'll pay for itself.
I don't foresee me doing that.
Oh, well,
Not at this point.
It's not for everyone. Getting rich isn't for everybody, Colt.
Apparently not.
Still being a hotelier.
Hotelier, yeah. But yeah, I'm at that point now where I have this dream of getting out of the military and going and doing something like new and adventurous, but I don't think it's really going to happen. I'll probably get out and work at the 7-Eleven and.
You shouldn't do that. What about doing the tattoo thing?
Yeah. That was fun while it lasted, but I don't think that's for me either.
Well,
I'll never find my niche now that silent films are out.
Well, I think also when getting started with a tattooing apprenticeship, like especially like whenever you're younger and you got a lot less to lose.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing.
Yeah, being 18 years old in a tattoo shop getting treated like shit, because that's what happens when you're an apprentice. You're basically signing up to be treated like shit. Mm-hmm. Doing that at 18 and doing that at 36 are way different. Like I'm at this point where like, okay, I'm definitely fucking grown up. I need to be treated with some respect. Mm-hmm. Like the first time that I'm not, like I'm just done with it. I'm not gonna be involved in that anymore. Sorry, folks.
But you did tattoo me.
I did.
I'm very grateful
and
for
only
it.
tattoo that I actually got to do on another person while I worked there, and it was the highlight of my life.
If it were obviously I'd let you tattoo me again.
Yeah, we'll do some fucking kitchen table tattoos and shit one of these days.
Oh yeah.
I left all my stuff there. I just kind of said fuck it and just never went back and got it. So hundreds of dollars of stuff was just sitting there unclaimed.
Shoot, you should go back and get that.
They probably already sold it. That's what I would do.
When was the last time you were there?
Oh
or talked to him?
This is probably May.
Yikes.
Of 2019. Yeah, it's a whole new year now.
I was up there or sideways there. However you view west, I guess. That was April of last year.
Yeah, so it was shortly after that. It was a good time though. And it's always something that, if I was in a position where I had nothing but free time and, bored a lot, sure, I would go try to do that somewhere else. But, career, family, all that kind of stuff doesn't leave much room for extra things like that. Because that's a pretty big commitment. They're going to want you up there all the time. And, you're single and that's it. And all you're doing is going to work and nothing to do after work. Sure, that's great. Work 2 jobs, it's not a big deal. But I think I'd be heading for a divorce if I did that.
Well, I mean, plus you're a family man. Like you don't want to be like, sorry, fam, just got home from the Navy. Now I'm gonna go up to the tattoo parlor and draw stuff.
Yeah, hey, sorry, baby, I know I missed our anniversary, but I was tattooing a rose on some girl's titties.
If you did end up doing it, you should affect your voice and a character for every new customer you meet.
Oh, that would be great. I would do that.
Hello, welcome. Come in. What would you like?
Wait, I was in here last week, and you sounded like you were from Germany. What's going on, buddy?
You must have met my brother. You look like me.
Yeah, we were separated at birth.
We used to be one.
We touched penises in the womb. Can we edit that part out?
We'll do a sweep of it later. We'll just be like, all right, because you don't want too many beefs, because there's some things that are foul and offensive that you kind of want in there.
But where do fetuses, penis touching in the womb, where does that fall?
Well, are they in the same embryonic sac? I don't know. Like, or do they have like 2 different placentas for?
Yeah, it's probably okay. Babies can do stuff and get away with it. It's all right.
Yeah, nobody's watching them. I heard they're not even a baby in certain states until the doctor comes in and says, yes, that is a baby.
Well, no, until the birth certificate's filled out and signed, that kind of stuff. That's when they become a real baby. You can kill them at any point up until then. It's totally cool.
It's of course, us being men, we're not allowed to have an opinion on this subject, which I personally I think that's and this will start being controversial. I don't care. I think it's a wrong way to look at the argument, because you should never tell somebody based on their gender that they can't have an opinion on something. That's fucking wrong. That's bigoted. Now, as far as how important my opinion is to the discussion, I mean, it obviously doesn't hold much weight into it. Like, that's totally fine. My opinion on black political affairs affecting inner city communities holds very little water as well. I mean, that's fine. But I think, and we had touched on it earlier, so like we look at like Virginia with this idea with post-birth abortion, right? Which personally, I just, my opinion, I don't like abortion. I don't. Like, I would argue that if consciousness is transferred or created biologically, then at a cellular level, the zygote would seemingly be the ideal place for it to incept. Now that I don't have any data to back that up. I'm just saying my, I guess, religious, for lack of a better term, beliefs, and whatever religion I am, I don't know. But it's killing a baby. That's the way I view it. I don't think legislation, however, should be talking anything about what we can be doing with our bodies at all.
Yeah, but at some point, it's no longer your body; it's a whole other person's body.
Therein becomes the talking point,
yeah,
right?
And I'm a little different though, because I think that there are personal benefits to abortion in some cases. I feel like there's definitely societal benefits. Instead of having millions of unwanted children everywhere, okay, that tapers off when abortion is thrown in there. But at some point, before the baby is born, it is an actual person. It's just inside of a woman, okay? It's still a real human being sitting in there. And at some point, you got to define that line to where, okay, we probably shouldn't kill this because it's a person now. But then again, unlike you said, I don't I have an opinion on it, but I understand that it means nothing because I'm not carrying a fucking baby.
Yeah.
I'm never going to carry a baby. Who am I to tell someone else what to do,
Precisely. However, I think that, again, not to keep harping it, but to say that you don't, based on me being a man and identifying socially as a man, that I do not have a right to have an opinion on something taboo like an abortion is bunk.
Oh yeah, no, everybody is perfectly capable of having an opinion on everything.
Precisely.
There's nothing that you can't have an opinion on.
Yeah.
Whether it's race, gender, anything. You can have a fucking opinion on it, but like you said, is it gonna hold a lot of water? Is it gonna carry a lot of weight?
Yeah, that's subjective. So it's like looking at art, right? So it's like not everybody that looks at art is going to be moved by the same artwork, And sometimes you are, and you gravitate towards those people. So people that like the same movies, music, literature, podcasts, whatever. You tend to form friendships that way. And I think that there's things, like you said, it gets to a certain point where you have to concede this argument, no matter what your ideological values may be, and recognize that this is a human being that's in the womb. So, there's when my brother was born, he was premature. He was small enough to fit into a toboggan. He's still alive today. So, the viable life argument, it's the way it has been defined in the states. Almost every state I find is doing a kind of a bad job at it. And I think the state that was leading that was Virginia, when you saw this post-birth abortion stuff where they decided that the authorities, this authoritarian medical regime, can dictate whether or not the life is viable outside of the womb. And
are we talking like the baby's born with some kind of
they did not define
deformity or something?
They did not define.
Oh, yeah, open-ended. That's probably the best way to do it.
So now at the same time, he's somewhat tied, the governor, he's tied to some things that there's a lot of scandal with, and some of them happen to be with some of these stem cell research groups where they're harvesting organs. So what it sounds like is that he's trying to make this a profitable outcome for himself. Now, what happened when this moved into legislation is a lot of these Bible-thumping states kind of just said, well, we need to fucking react. If we don't define when a human being is, then these crazy leftists are going to come in here and start, aborting toddlers and shit.
Imagine Alabama pulling up his britches. Oh, no, you wait a damn minute, Virginia.
But I mean, so you start seeing that. You saw New York had something like a 9-month abortion. I mean, again, I'm pro-choice.
What happened with that anyway? Do we know what happened with that?
I don't know what happened with that.
It shows up on Facebook and stuff, and people make a big deal, and then we get all the outrage out, and we always kind of forget it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Anybody know?
With me, it's all about government overreach. That's how I view it. But on just a moral level, I don't like abortion. I don't support it at all. But it's not my choice. Like you said, I don't have a fucking uterus. I'm never going to have to worry about that.
I don't like abortion on paper because, when you think of killing something that has no, it's helpless. Of course, that sounds terrible, but I hate more than that, government. Which is strange for an employee of the government to say, But there's way too much government. Get rid of all of us. Fire all of us. End taxes. Just get rid of us. I'll be homeless for the greater good.
There needs to be less government. And we need to be, instead of creating more and more laws and adding more and more laws and more things that can get more people incarcerated for, like there's women that are being like arrested for breaking these abortion laws, for like manslaughter and like accessory to murder and things like this. We don't need these types of authoritarian overreach. It's fucking dangerous.
But that's such like a sensitive topic. Like everybody has their own opinion about it, and it's always super strong. And if we could look 1,000 years in the future, there'll still be sides to that argument.
Oh, yeah.
They'll never get this one to satisfy everybody.
I think it needs to be, like most things, circumstantial, right? So like, if there's a serial rapist and he's impregnating people, I don't think that, sorry pro-lifers, that baby should live. I think that it's carrying DNA.
But if you say circumstantial, who's the person, like who decides that? Who's the one person that stamps the paper that says, abortion okay, check mark?
I don't know, that's a good question.
Maybe we should just ban sex. There's no more procreation, period.
That's what they're
planet would probably.
That's what they're going to do when the robots take over. They're just going to be like, all right, now we're so overpopulated, so we're going to have to make a fair amount of you guys eunuchs.
Man, as soon as that happens, I will sell out so quick.
It's going to happen, man. I think with all this stuff, like, America's so young, dude. Like, we're an adolescent in the world game. You know what I mean?
Even.
Say what?
Angsty, even.
Very angsty. Like, our entire existence has been about war. Like, from the get-go, it's been about rebellion and war, and then about, well, who's going to be in charge? So it's this social experiment that, hey, look, well, all this crazy, nefarious, high-level government shit's going on. You can also just be a normal person, come here, and your family can prosper for ages. And like we haven't seen that yet on the world stage, like we have America.
One of my favorite things about that whole America being about war thing is it's always under the guise of America, freedom, land of the free, support our troops, all that kind of stuff. And we're not doing anything to protect America in these places that we're going. I don't understand it.
It's business contracts, and I think sometimes you even look at history, and sometimes there's fucked up things that have happened, like the Gulf of Tonkin. Or Operation Northwoods.
Some things needed to happen. We should have been in World War II, and we were, and that's great because there was a good reason for us to be in it. If you're looking at like an
imperialistic, poisonous ideology that was taking over the planet. Yeah.
And
absolutely,
millions of people being murdered. Sure, we should probably help and stop that if we can. But anything after that point, I just don't know about it.
Well, we tend to be selective with our righteousness and piety as a nation, anyway, right? Well, I think that's like why I have a problem with both religious ideologues and social justice warriors, because like they're so subjective and limited in what they want to focus on that it doesn't do justice to reality. It doesn't do justice to problem solving either. It just sort of it piles on fantasies with fact, and I don't think that necessarily gets us anywhere. So like you said, where it's just like we're going for freedom. It's like, bro, we've been over there for a lot of things, for control of the Arabian Peninsula, to help out the Saudis who have been fighting a war for centuries there to dominate that peninsula. We've been going there for natural resources. We've been going there for opium. We've been going there so that we have more cushion to give Israel in that part of the world, from all of their foes. It's business. And you start to realize that like a lot of these countries, they've been at this business a lot longer than America has. Like, I mean, like, think about that. Like, just in the Middle East, like, some of these dynasties, like, that have been there, like, as long as, like, some Chinese dynasties.
As far as Israel goes, though, I mean, it's about time somebody had the Jewish back. You know what I mean? They've had it pretty rough for a long time, so.
No doubt, but the government that's there, like, in the history of kind of, like, what they've done, like, that's what I agree with when they do critique that country. It has nothing to do with the religion of that country. It's just that, this particular country and whatever their problem is that's going on within their borders, what they're doing is pretty foul.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with some religious zealots that are like, they don't have a right to exist. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Everybody has a right to exist. Like, that's why America kicks ass, because like the ideas that are within some of our formative documents, like the Declaration of Independence, where it's or the Constitution,
Hoax.
All hoax.
Yep, all hoaxes. None of that shit's even real. That's it. Show's over.
The pursuit of happiness. It's over.
Yeah, I mean, that's such, like, they should have rethought that a little bit, because that's a really broad term. They weren't thinking hundreds of years in the future people are going to be arguing about that still. I guess to them it was pretty cut and dry, but you could use that pursuit of happiness thing to fucking argue any point that you wanted.
If you're a sadist, yeah, definitely. But if you're also acknowledging that everybody else has the right to their pursuit of happiness as well. So, even within...
Yeah, I mean, as long as your pursuit of happiness doesn't infringe on somebody else's, it should be all good, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think?
That's my personal belief in American values.
Let's start talking about recreational drug use.
Well,
that's a perfect example.
As somebody that's, I've never been in the armed services. Most of my family was, but I never was, So, like I, throughout my younger years, I experimented with drugs, And as somebody who has been in the military for so long, and for somebody that I knew you before you went in the military, and you and I have smoked pot before.
I have never done that. I can neither confirm nor deny that accusation.
But what would your opinion be, allegedly, if you did have an opinion on recreational, or rather legal, drug use things that are, to clarify, things that are on the controlled substance list. So I'm not that you can't readily have access to in a market. So even within the healthcare industry, like in the military, there's certain pills you can get because they're only Schedule 2, right? So you can get it if your job approves it. But clearly, if you get caught with a Schedule 1, that's a big no-no.
Actually, yeah, I don't even think my job you can get any of that kind of stuff. But my statement about not infringing on other people's pursuit of happiness and stuff, that falls in line perfectly with that conversation, because I think that you, as an autonomous human being, should be able to make whatever choice that you want to make about what you want to put in your body or how you want to live your life, as long as it's not messing with anybody else's. Like, I don't see the problem. So the whole idea that, okay, well, if we as a society decide that if you decide that you're going to smoke this plant, guess what? You're going to fucking jail. Yeah. Because apparently you're a danger to society.
Yeah.
Or not even just natural things. Like, if you want to do fucking heroin, I don't give a shit. If you want to ruin your life and do heroin, have at it, man. I don't think you should go to jail for that. I think you should be able to do whatever you want with your body.
I think we should be putting violent people behind bars. If you're in possession of a drug, let alone especially something that will pacify you, like pot or heroin, like, you're not necessarily a danger to society. You may be a danger to yourself if you exacerbate self-destructive habits and tendencies, and especially something like opioids, because you can OD from them. You can't OD from pot, but still, I agree with you that I think it is about, I am an autonomous being, and I do have the right to decide to do with myself whatever I want, as long as it's not hurting or infringing on others' rights to do that as well. I think that's the concept of liberty. It's not only that you have the freedom, but you have the responsibility to make sure that your freedoms and other people's freedoms aren't combating one another.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll ever get to a point. I mean, you see change happening. Obviously, marijuana is a bunch of states. It's medicinal use, recreational use, whatever.
Mushrooms will be next.
The climate's changing in that department, but it's going to be those type of things. Only the natural things. These other man-made things. There's 100 years from now, it's going to be the exact same way. All that stuff will still be illegal. Still go to jail for doing it. And government, if you're listening, that's a no-no. Let people be free.
Real talk. So you want to grow a poppy field on this island up in Maine? Is it,
Fuck yes. Hell yes.
Will poppy grow up there?
I don't know. Could you pull that up for us, Judd?
Think of all the helpless people we'll addict and murder with our drugs. All those dropout kids had no future anyway.
Yeah, they're fucked.
Somebody needs to do a like a back to school special or something like that, where it shows drug companies like that. Like, think of all of the children we don't matter with our drugs.
That's step 1 to world conquest. Get the kids hooked on the pot.
Step 2, get them on rap music.
I don't know what step 3 would be.
Get them in jail.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Get them in jail. Step 4, profit.
What do you think? Have you kept up with South Park? Like, I know you watch South Park, but have you? Are you up to speed with everything?
I don't know 100%. I think so. But if I turn out to not know what you're talking about, I apologize.
Well, just in general, like, is this last season, they had the transgender Macho Man Randy Savage episode and controversy. I think there's another, the China controversy, where Randy murders Winnie the Pooh to do business with China. And then they clapped back at the Chinese government, and the Chinese government censored South Park in the whole country.
Yeah, and now the coronavirus is here. Coincidence?
It is weird. I saw this article, I think maybe one that Judd sent me, that had it was something, because I talked about the last podcast I did about like stuff I'd seen with this alternative food market and like bat soup, and apparently
all
folks,
the weird stuff like people eating like, and soup and shit.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
this 4chan style of like trolling humor sort of spun out of control, and then then people are like, oh, how dare you like talk about that? But supposedly in that article it talked about in this bio lab where they were fucking around with stuff they probably shouldn't have been, and added
just scientists just pushing random buttons.
Well, they added some sort of protein or something that would bond with HIV, with this coronavirus, and they were testing it out on mammals. Specifically, bats were brought up, and then maybe a bat got out and got into the wild population there.
It's just a setup for the next Resident Evil movie.
I mean, if you look at just sort of some of the things the government, and again, because it's not about people, that's whenever we talk about like a country or something, it's not about the people that live there, it's about the people that are in control. Like Americans, like that were like fighting Nazis and whatnot, they didn't drop, they weren't flying the Enola Gay and dropping the fucking bomb on Hiroshima, you know what I mean? Yet our government still did that. They did both of those things.
So you think we're looking at another Lyme disease with the coronavirus?
I don't know. I think I've been seeing stuff pop up where it's talking about that people in China that are whistleblowers are getting arrested. So I don't know what the consensus is there, because like China's very protective with information and the internet and its citizens. So I don't know. I think there are some weird things that are going on there.
Do they have Google on their internet there?
They've got Google China. Google does business with China.
Okay. All right. Didn't know if they were still on like Ask Jeeves or something.
They supposedly with was it Huawei? I think it's a Chinese phone. It's like top of the line like phone, but they do business with the Chinese government. They sell all their data and report all their users' data back to the Chinese government. They're working on this social credit score where if you're a naughty person and you don't pay your bills on time, or you talk about the wrong things, or you criticize the government,
you watch too many videos of animals fucking,
like your credit score starts going out. It's some Black Mirror shit, man.
Yeah. It's probably my favorite episode of Black Mirror.
It's a good one. It's a good one. I haven't seen all of them, but they're pretty good. But I like that South Park is sort of like this, like a canary in the coal mine, as far as like somebody big that is also like not gonna just like chirp along with everybody else. They're gonna like say like, no, there's
they have no problem being, ruffling feathers, which is like my favorite thing about that show.
I love it. They don't give a damn. And nor should you, because Matt Stone, he said once the instance that you start to say that you can make fun of one thing and not another thing, all the jokes are now malicious. That means that this one thing is protected, and all your other jabs that are supposed to make people laugh, they're all malicious and they're all bad things. And that's horrible. Like, it's a horrible way to look at comedy. Comedy's not about that. I don't choose to laugh. Like, a laugh is like, it's an involuntary reaction. It's a spasm of joy that happens from shock and also you understanding a reference point to something you weren't expecting. And it causes excitement and these chemicals to be released in your brain. And South Park they did the one season where Trump got elected, and Garrison got elected,
which was great.
They had to cancel the episode they made. It was about Bill Clinton getting back in the White House and running a gentleman's school. And because they only have one day now. It's made in 6 days. Election Tuesday, it airs on a Wednesday. So they had to cut together all the stuff where Garrison gets elected, and they had to change their story arc. So the season after that, they were pressured to do more with, make fun of Garrison. And then after that, they told Comedy Central they weren't going to be doing that they didn't find anything daring about making fun of Trump. They didn't find
the usual target, basically, for
it's nothing
other TV platform.
There's I forget which one of the two, Trey Parker or Matt Stone, said it, but they said that the only way to be punk in Los Angeles is to be a Republican.
I can see that.
I can definitely see that.
I've never been there, but yeah, I get it.
LA, I've been there twice.
LA.
Los Angeles. I do like, however, with South Park that they're still even like trying new stuff as well. Like they spent a season and a half on Cartman getting a girlfriend.
Yeah, those are all really good.
Yeah. And then Randy becomes like a fucking terrorist, like he's like bombing people's backyards where they're growing weed because it's not integrity. It ain't integrity.
That's the sound of freedom.
Come and get it, motherfucker.
Bush Light.
We'll probably have to beat that out.
I don't know. Maybe they'll sponsor it.
I don't know if
Could you stand being sponsored by Bush Light?
I mean, it's not being sponsored, but I feel like I'd be lying because I don't really buy Bush Light.
Well, your refrigerator claims otherwise.
I prayed to the Lord for something cold and refreshing, and this
I walked.
This voice said, "Check the fridge.
Check the fridge. You'll find it there."
Have you ever seen a skunk ape?
Have I ever seen? He just came out just 0 to 90. Who? Have I ever seen what? A skunk ape?
Yes.
What the fuck is a skunk ape?
Like a Sasquatch.
Oh,
Like a swamp ape.
Oh, Sasquatch. Yeah, man. No, maybe that's what draws me to the Canadian border. I just have this dream of one day running into a Sasquatch and being the one credible witness that's seen one. Like, everybody that's seen one's always these fucking maniacs. You spend 8 months in the woods every year trying to find Sasquatch. You're gonna find something,
It's like one guy, what Pai talked about. Of course, this is like 19th century, so like it's like the liar's last stand, because like nobody, they don't have a way to fact check. So it's like, I'm telling you, I was up there in them hills, lived up there for 17 days with the Squatches. Had a Yeti youngling came. And all of a sudden, the Apaches came out of nowhere and slaughtered us all. Killed every last Squatch in them woods.
Well,
So I figure we should take the land back from them Apaches.
Get a youngling, milk my dick dry.
And just all the townspeople just,
that sounds like a reliable story. Why would he lie?
He said them Injuns killed them old Sasquatches, and I reckon he's telling the truth.
Harry Palm acting as a natural lubricant. The oils.
we're still talking about the Sasquatch fucking.
Well, somebody had to. Like,
Yeah, nobody ever talks about that. Everybody has Sasquatch encounters. No one has Sasquatch sexual encounters.
yeah, like they're like, I was there in my tree stand, and I heard this commotion. I look over, and there's two Squatches humping, and the daddy Squatch looked up, and he grinned at me.
When I saw that big throbbing Sasquatch cock, I just couldn't help myself.
I said, dear, something bigger's come this way.
Oh, holy shit.
The real hunt is on.
I've never.
Gay-A-Y!
Welcome back to Gay Radio.
Today we're here with Squatch expert Robert Johnson, talking about his new book, Squatch and Titties, Life and Love with Indigenous Pre-Human Creatures in the 19th Century. Robert, good to have you on GAY Gay Radio.
Yeah, let me tell you, the bear phase is over, ladies and gentlemen. It is now all about that Squatch cock. Bears and otters out the door. Sasquatch is in. Oh yeah, I was just thinking that whole Sasquatch sexual encounter thing. Like, I've never had the desire to write a book, but I kind of want to write a gay Sasquatch romance book now.
I think you could do it.
I think I could. I think I will.
You know what you should do? Just start as a short story, and then you'll go back, you read, like, it needs more detail. And you just start
Expand
branching.
on it, yeah.
So start off kind of like Hemingway style, where it's just like, the man fucked the ape.
Yeah.
The ape was large.
The giant
8
hairy
feet.
boner.
The ape then fucked the man. They kissed,
Just think of all the
but
great.
not on the mouth.
Think of all the great artwork that you could put on the cover. You know those little shitty like Danielle Steele romance novels.
The Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It's
You
just
know,
a like Brokeback Mountain, but like
you know, it's like always like shirtless guy on a fucking white horse with lightning in the background.
yeah.
But it's like Sasquatch on a horse.
Or like one that's a centaur. Like just so the dude is the horse.
Just softly embracing me on his stallion.
Do you think a centaur would have relations with Bigfoot? Or would it go more for like zebras and other like, Mustangs, horses?
I think it would just fuck horses, man. In all honesty, yeah.
Just because of its nether regions being that way?
Yeah. It has to be compatible.
So I would imagine then, I would think that its brain, they probably wouldn't be like, maybe even capable of like communicating with like elves, Sasquatch, things of this nature. Or you think it would be like something like where it's just like an acute difference where it's like, oh no, I'm just all horse from the waist down. It's all me up here.
Yeah. Just normal 9-to-5 guy day up here, but down
Somebody's
here, it's just horse pussy.
somebody's got to audit these taxes, and somebody's got to pound some zebra puss. That might as well be me.
Pound and zebra puss. Glad you guys could join us.
Welcome back.
Can that be in like the title somewhere? Zebra.
We came out fucking the box swinging like fucking gay radio.
Yeah, we really set the tone for what the rest of this episode was going to be.
It's great. It's great. It's fantastic. I wonder.
I just got all these weird images in my head now, like minotaurs sucking off centaurs and shit. It's a fucking weird fantasy orgy in my head now.
It's gonna make some good art
I need
later.
to put this on paper.
I need the room.
Just close off. Just me and my paintbrushes.
For some reason, there's drapes. There weren't drapes before. Just close them off. Oh God. This was a good idea. Thank you for doing this. That's how I was going to start. I was just going to be like, hey man, thanks for doing this.
That probably would have been a better intro.
Yeah, fuck it.
Probably would have been better than what we went with, but yeah, man, I'm glad to be here.
I always tell people, I'm like Justin is like the funniest person I know. And it's not like from like jokes you tell, or it's not like that you're like, hey guys, look at me, look at me, look at me, like anything like that. It's just my sense of humor works very well with yours. Very well.
I'm more like the alley-oop humor kind of guy. Like he sets something up and then I come in as skadoosh, or vice versa.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm only as smart as the audience. I'm only as funny as the audience, and only as funny as those I interact with. You know, like, and I like that throughout our circle of friends that have like stayed around that aren't, you know, dirtbags, or at least, you know, dirtbags anymore. That you know, all of us are individuals, and we're all like a different style of comedian, so to speak. But
Except
you
for you.
But you also have the ability to alter your voice to like voice act as well.
Yeah, I really
and you're
thought
one of
I
the
was
few
gonna-
friends I have that's like, you know, family that like I'm like he's a good voice actor as well.
Yeah, if anybody out there is recruiting for voice acting talent, I got you. I could do a really good, like, gay Eastern European, or that's really it. That's about all I got. But that one's pretty good.
Let's hear it.
Well, I'd have to have something to say. I need like a script. You got a script? I think I'll just talk to the rest of the podcast in that voice. I can't help but notice that as soon as I started this voice, my legs crossed much tighter. A cigarette magically showed up between my fingers.
You want me to get you a cigarette, you fine foxy bitch of a man? I'd tap that.
No, I don't smoke.
That's good.
Smoking can cause lung disease, heart disease,
A lot.
meningitis. I'm just saying words now. I don't know.
Just hearing chuckles come from meningitis.
I heard a good meningitis joke in a long time.
Sounds like a band I wouldn't listen to.
Not
You guys going to that meningitis concert? Count me out.
I'd listen to them, I think.
Meningitis? What kind of music do you think they would do?
Oh, dude, they'd be some kind of fucking metal band for sure. No, like a punk. Be a punk band.
That's why I would think more like upbeat, not upbeat
I
like
think we're like,
happy.
you got to brush your teeth now. Like, take care of your fucking gums.
Have you guys heard Gingivitis by Meningitis?
You don't floss. You don't floss.
Wailing on the
Oh man, I'm getting all kinds of like artistic ideas now.
Fantastic, isn't it?
Yep, I'm gonna sell my songs to the
To the highest bidder.
American Dental Association. You don't floss. You don't floss. You gotta brush your teeth. You gotta brush your teeth. You cannot be punk without a British accent. Little known fact.
I went to the park today, saw Mrs. Gray. She said, Lonnie, your teeth are big, but you might have missed a spot or three. She said, go to the dentist and brush your teeth.
I think I would buy that album. It's just a beautiful smile on the cover.
I just want. We should just like take samples of that, like all that, just make it this one thing. Like,
Go see your dentist. Go brush your teeth.
You gotta plug some though. Oral-B! Oral-B!
Crest, 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 crest.
You can tell my product allegiance because that's the only toothbrush I know.
I've got Arm and Hammer myself.
A toothbrush? An Arm & Hammer toothbrush?
Yeah, it's I just punch my gums every morning.
I'm like waking up and shoving a fist in your mouth.
So hey, some people do coffee. I do fists.
That could be a t-shirt.
Some do coffee. I do fists.
Nobody talk to me till I've had my morning fist.
Some like masochistic punk rocker.
This is
I haven't had my morning fist yet, bro. Give me a minute.
very strange walk.
What a peculiar gait on that fellow.
Like my fisting, all right?
He must be one of.
Have you ever tried fisting?
I don't think so. I think maybe somebody's gotten like a finger or two up there before. I've never been Jim Hensoned. No, that's when you get the whole
Yes,
fist
no,
and you
I got the
lift
reference.
them up and can
Physically move their mouth, yeah.
and that's not. If that's what you're into, that's cool. It's just me.
There's nothing more manly than shoving your entire arm in another man's ass and using him like a puppet.
Lifting that sumbitch up here so you can show him off to all your friends that he is your little ventriloquist.
My asshole hurts, but my God, do I respect you. If I had a nickel for every time I've had to say that.
It accumulate to a lot, I imagine.
What have we talked about so far? The Jews, Bigfoot. We talked about chemtrails. I know you want to. I can see the sparkle. I can see the chemtrail sparkle in your eye.
supposed to be talking with my buddy Teddy sometimes soon.
Airline pilot.
I'm not sure what he does nowadays, but I know that he's also into conspiracies as well. He's a musician as well. He's a real talented musician. A super nice guy. But it's interesting to see just through social media, like some of the conspiracy pages I follow and who our mutual friends will follow and which particular pages they are. So,
You know, like I enjoy like flirting with all those things a little bit. You know, kind of dipping my toes in the water some. But then, you know, things happen like Netflix releases that Behind the Curve or whatever, and it just turns the whole fucking thing into a laughing stock. It's hilarious. Me and Brandy just watched that the other night, and we both got a great kick out of it. Some of those people are just the best. The one little guy at the beginning. Have you seen it?
I don't think so.
Like the first thing that you see about this guy is he's in his driveway with two big ass hammers, and he's like bouncing a ping pong in between them while he's reciting the 50 states. He's like, yeah, my brain coach told me that this would be a good workout for blah 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 blah, and he segues immediately into, and that's why they try to keep people from knowing things, like with their vaccines. You know, dinosaurs weren't real. Like that's about how condensed his little conspiracy theories were.
So it sounds like that. Granted, I haven't seen it, but it sounds like that they were sort of targeting specific weirdos. There was somebody.
No, they definitely were.
So there was somebody I ran across in a. Because again, like there's some folks in there that are like more or less pointing in the flat Earth community. They're just pointing out, hey, we've got some flaws in our mathematics that we need to readdress. And then you have others that there's one in there is like, do you know Australia is not even real? It's a NASA lie. It's like, bro, I'm wearing a shirt that says like NASA lies, and I'm telling you that's fucking stupid.
That's the problem. There's not any, you know, the people that get behind all that stuff. There's like zero mathematicians. There's zero astronauts, scientists. There's just people that say, well, you know what, if I turn this bowl upside down in the yard and water falls off of it, how come water stays on the earth?
Well, there are
Answer that, science!
There are some. There's a group. They're called Globe Busters. They do a pretty good job of finding people that are not so wacky with their opinions. Some of them are ex-pilots. Some of them are mechanical engineers, and it's just. Again, that's the beauty of science, though, is that you have people that are coming to different conclusions and can open up discussions again. So
yeah, but I mean, like at some point, like the the discussion should be laid to rest about some things.
I don't know, because if the stuff with Admiral Byrd, like, and him saying that there's more land on the other side of the South Pole.
Maybe like went all the way up under it and then came up to like South America.
I think it would be, if that's the case, then what we're on, we don't know everything about it, right? So Earth would have to be larger. If it is still spherical, it would have to be larger, but it would account for other land masses, and it would account for the trigonometry problem with the curvature at 8 inches per mile squared. It just means that you would have to adjust the mathematics because the ratio was wrong. But I think whenever the whole conversation is sort of dismissed, then it encourages things we don't want, which is we want you just label fools properly, and then you don't have to deal with them because they're a fool, right? And,
You know, the opposite side of that thing, and that same thing I was talking about on Netflix, like at the end, they have some of the guys from NASA talking, you know, they're like kind of addressing that community, and they basically say like, you know, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't like ostracize these inquisitive minds from the discussion, you know? I mean, because then they get into these like echo chambers, you know,
Precisely.
and the ideas that they're coming up with are just fucking wasted. Like addressed them properly. I mean, I don't think the Earth's flat, but am I gonna look somebody in the eye and tell them they're a fucking idiot because they have some argument about it? Maybe, but I know that I shouldn't.
well, I think it depends on what the argument is, right? Like, and not just to use flat earthers, but with anything. So like even like the vaccines argument. So like I have friends of mine who have had children that their kids got sick from the vaccine. Something happened. There's also stuff online where it's not broad brush vaccines. It's certain companies, right, that are making products elsewhere, and then they're sort of getting a blind eye from the FDA and the DEA, and they have this stuff added in to the vaccine. It's for intellectual property rights, right? So it makes it unique. Well,
That's my Mercury.
well, I mean, like whatever it is, I don't know what it is, and even with vaccines, like vaccines, the systems that vaccines treat are 2. We now know of like 5 systems in the body that like they didn't know 50 years ago existed. So it's also something that like we need to like be prepared for and discuss. And if we start having nothing but mandatory vaccines, that's a fucking problem, because now you're saying that everybody's going to take medicine from the government. That's not what we need at all. We need to make sure that we're doing vaccines, we're doing them safe, because we want to be immunized from some of these really like harmful and dangerous things. And I think if we just sort of cast them into the fools category instead of listening to what they have, maybe they have data that is really important and that can help us find a solution to something. And we're not going to get that if we just demonize opposition and if we just sort of whistle in the dark that we already know all the answers when we don't.
Well, you know, you put anything in your body, there's a risk, right? But, you know, now it's all the Facebook mom thing, you know, like, I'm not, the anti-vaxxer, you know, I ain't vaccinating my kids, who needs it? Like, our society is the way it is today because vaccines have made it possible. Like, we live in these big, giant, densely packed fucking societies because we can thwart off these fucking illnesses that would destroy us otherwise.
Yeah.
Like,
Thumbs up, Jonas Salk.
Get fucking your kids vaccinated.
Yeah.
Get them vaccinated. If they end up with autism, it's probably not the vaccine. They probably just have fucking autism. It's not the end of the world.
Or if
I'd rather have a kid with autism than a dead kid.
Yeah, no joke. And even if that, like, we need to just have honest discussions about it. Like, because again, like, if it's a same company that is having all these cases, then clearly it's not the vaccine itself, it's this product that's being made by this company. There's something wrong with that. So it's scary to think about, like, future like future tech fears and whatnot. It's kind of like earlier with direct energy weapons. It's like 10, 15 years ago you have that, and it's just like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you saying there's lasers the military's using to like burn stuff? It's like, well, last year the Pentagon came out and they said that, hey, like, yeah, we have this technology. What of it?
What's up? Who wants to go?
But if they're willing to talk about it publicly, same thing with like chemtrails, like CIA, and even Bill Gates talked about using chemtrails to cool the Earth, right? To protect it from solar radiation, so that can maybe help with climate change. So again, it's these things that they're admitting that while they've been in just esoteric writings and classified documents for decades on end, now they're being admitted. So if they're admitting to it now, where do you think they're at as far as what they can do?
I'm not a jet engineer. I don't know much about that, but
I like their first album.
yeah, they're pretty good. But I just think that the whole chemtrail thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that like just a byproduct of like the jet process, like water vapor?
It can be, yeah, but there's also other
AIDS in it.
No, there's stuff that it'll encourage weather to happen.
Yeah.
Like
We
NASA
talked about that, like the cloud seeding and stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like they're
It's not
like
new stuff.
putting your tinfoil hat on. They're putting the birds aren't real.
nano machines.
Yeah. I mean, even if that is the case, what the fuck are you gonna do about it, man?
Nothing.
I mean, what can you do about it? So I don't think it's anything like that. But it is to this is a military town. So there's a military base very close to here. The government, the Pentagon in particular, does not want anything to happen around one of their installations, right? That's, aside from lives lost, that's also a lot of tech and money lost as well. Not to mention infrastructure, all these things. So since the 1960s, they've been working on ways to seed clouds and control weather. And now you've even got stuff where NASA has these towers that it looks like a rocket launch pad, right?
Yes.
But there's no rocket attached to it. So you just see the red frame of all this stuff and the NASA logo. And it just produces clouds. They've got one in Mississippi. They bought out within I think it's a 15-mile radius of where the tower was. Everybody, they're hey, we're putting this in because it puts out some unbelievable amount of noise. And you can't have people around, otherwise they'll go deaf. Not to mention crazy.
What is that called? I want you to send me stuff about that. I want to see that.
It's the guy. He was in Top Gear. One of the three British blokes was driving a vehicle. I think
That's a show about cars.
he looks like what's his name? Stephen Fry, but it's not Stephen Fry. You know what I'm talking about? But it's him, and it's this thing where NASA they make this cloud.
I want to see
And
that.
it's clear, it's clean water. And they make a cloud and they make it rain. They control the weather.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Just putting water vapor up there, basically.
Yeah.
That's
But
pretty cool.
if the point being, if they admit to this now, right, what do you think they're capable of? So just with weather manipulation, it's crazy to think. That was a Hurricane Dorian, right? We see it get to a certain spot and then over the Bahamas it just stops. And it just churns and churns and churns and then starts making its way up the coast instead. Do you know the Chinese had a military base on the Bahamas?
I did not know that.
Look into that. I think that the military can play, and not even military, but just science in general. These world powers, they can play God in ways that we're not even fully capable of grasping. I don't feel. I came
It's
across.
funny to me thinking about it, though, being a member of the military and this lower tier of the military that has none of that kind of stuff. There's just a whole upper echelon maybe that deals with those kind of things. And then there's just us dummies at the bottom that have no fucking idea. Eating Arby's on the way home from work. Just normal folks. Not poisoning any environments.
That's why most people are. Most people are good and want to do good, But it's we're an argument for capitalism over collectivism once it said gold, even with all the greed, is better than blood. A society that operates where we may have avarice, right? And we may all be slaves to currency. But that's better than being slaves to people and slaves to the religious authority, slaves to the military.
We just need to transition to that Star Trek civilization.
Which one?
Star Trek, man, it's it's not anything based on currency and none of that kind of shit. It's just all one big, all for one for all, I guess. Pretty much get your shit.
Government, New World Order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my problem with open borders. It's like, all right, so these utopian ideas, they exist when you have somebody dominate the whole planet and take over the world, and then you can have a world with no borders.
Oh yeah, we just need that one alien encounter. We're one alien encounter away
was it?
from one good old government.
Well, Ronald Reagan talked about that, if I'm not mistaken. He's like think if the world came together from our reptilian overlords of light descending from the heavens.
That's a pretty good Reagan impression.
Missed me. Ronald Reagan was a smooth motherfucker.
I survived, bitch.
Missed me.
Keep expecting for Will to just burst in. Oh, actually,
Just fucking pizzas in his arm.
I think the lights are on outside. I gotta hang on.
Those are good eyeballs on that thing over there.
Thank you. I found that because I was on Adderall for like 6 or 7 years, and like I pain a lot on it, but like I hated myself on Adderall. I was the worst version of myself when I was on it.
You were
like,
the worst boyfriend when you were on that roll. You were terrible to me.
the fact that you can sit here like a big boy.
We reconciled.
I'm proud of you. You're still wearing the horse outfit tonight.
Dressing like a slut.
But I found after with visual arts and whatnot, like, because I would use it to just drown myself in, like, from using speed for so long, that I after getting off of speed for now like 4 years, it makes me anxious a lot of times when I sit down like at the canvas again. Like it triggers me. It puts me back into like that mind state of being on Adderall, and I don't like it. I don't like that part of me, like being, because you're in fight or flight mode whenever you're on Adderall, right? So it maintains you at that level to where you're just on edge. So that's why you don't have an appetite. That's why like arousal may like minimize from it, because blood.
Really? Because whenever I think I'm about to fight, I get super horny. I'm gonna beat your ass and fuck you.
Well, I mean, maybe that's how you roll. That'd be intimidating. Can you imagine, like you're getting ready to fight some dude, and then he just rips all of his clothes off. And he's got like just like the size of Chicago, like this erection.
I think it would make anybody reconsider their actions.
I would take a second to reconsider a lot more than just my actions.
Unless it was a Sasquatch cock.
That's it. It's a Sasquatch. He's like a noir detective. He's got like a trench coat on. He's not wanting to be bothered. He's like, just leave me alone. I don't want any trouble. Nah, you're in the wrong place, motherfucker. Wearing a trench coat.
You asked for this.
Just boner for dudes.
Oh man! Speaking of boners, I'll tell this story. So one time I was at a. You're gonna love it.
There was a church.
No, even better. I was in Shakertown, Kentucky, which is like some it's like a 19th century style villa or whatnot, right? I'm there with
Like
my
a village, like a recreation.
Yeah. I'm like 11, 12 years old. You know, I'm there with my family, so I'm off wandering around bored. I'm there looking at this horse, and just a peaceful day, and this beautiful horse, and he and I are just bonding, and you know, my name, Colter, I mean, a lord or caretaker of small horses, you know, a Colter. I felt a spiritual connection.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Then I started hearing this sound. It was an odd sound, because it's, you know, very peaceful, you know, birds chirping, quiet day. I hear. And I'm looking around, wondering, like, what the fuck is that? And I see the horse, and it's this gigantic horse erection just unsheathing itself.
Just rolling out like a fruit by the foot.
like it's as big as my arm, like as an adult, and just gets one pump and then another one, and like starts
Just
like
flexing his cock by
and then the horse turns and starts walking whatever towards me. And I decided it was at that moment that I was going to find my family, and I was done looking at the horse.
Virginity on a farm.
That was a long, long time ago. Javier. He smelled of junipers
I don't have
and leather.
I don't think I have any good horse cock stories.
Not many people do. That's not even really a good horsecock story.
That's just be a bad one though.
I mean,
They're good.
Yeah,
Hands.
you can just look up someone online, people dying from
Yep.
horsecock.
Google Mr. Hands. Check that out, folks. If I brought you anything today, it's the fact that you need to Google Mr. Hands.
It's very brave of you to come forward like this.
Coming forward as a member in the military we have here, he's revealing the top secret project, Mr. Hands. Joining us live is Justin.
Yeah, this is Private Justin. I won't reveal my last name for obvious reasons. Anyway, yeah, we got this project, Mr. Hands, where we're running around fucking people with horses. It's real government stuff. Look it up. Read a book.
Like, can you what would be can you look up what the type of file would be if you're into horses? Like, you know, you have like
Equinophile.
like equine.
I feel like I got a good
Equinophile. I'll go with that. Can we get a spot?
Could you pull it up, Judge?
Hold that on my Google.
No. Use it on the work phone. Trust me, it's fine. It's fine.
Scientific word for horse lover.
I'm asking for a friend.
Hippophile, possibly.
Hippophile.
It's pretty broad. A person who loves horses. So that's not quite as specific as we're looking for.
I'm a hippophile.
Oh, are you?
Girl.
You like hippos? Let me narrow my search down a little bit. Scientific term
Maybe
for
you could take
fucking horses.
Over 2 million results! Oh, shit!
Oh, God.
It's an untapped market!
You know, if I was really brave, I would click images right now.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not finding an answer. We'll just go with hippophile, I guess.
Equinophile wasn't a word?
I'm gonna look that up, but I feel like I was on to something. If it's not a word, it should be a word.
It definitely should be a word. Totally should be a word. Equinophile. Where you have a portmanteau of it where you're equinophile, but you're also a free bleeder, so you're a equinophiliac. You free bleed from horses.
You can only give it to the horse. You take it.
That's Mr. Hands. He was an equinophiliac.
Well, that's why he's not with us anymore.
Rip.
Yeah, I'm just the horse fucking nomenclature is just gonna be on hold. I don't know.
I would contribute, but my device is elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's probably a good reason. I'm glad we could go from Bigfoot to
Bigfoot, Jews, energy weapons, horse fucking. This episode has it all.
It's got a lot. Well, see, like, I like this because it's like this is just how we would normally talk.
Yeah, that's what these people don't understand is like there is no script. This is literally just how we talk as people, and that is pretty fucking disturbing, really.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think because like we're all good, decent folk, you know.
Speak for yourself. I'm a degenerate.
Even with bad stuff, we've all done bad stuff, right? Like, still, like our group is like we want the best out of people we care for, and the best for the world, you know. It's just we're say some fucked up, inappropriate stuff at times, and so be it.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
I wouldn't. Fuck no.
We should order a pizza.
We should. we could have this just be like a little standalone from that, just for the time being.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hucking fungry, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and he's supposed to be coming. They say bringing food.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that. It's Will, so.
His friendship is over if he didn't. If he has, if he doesn't show up with what'd you say, a bushel of pizzas earlier? Doesn't show up with a bushel of pizzas.
We don't get that.
Cut him off.
We don't have that Bigfoot pizza from Pizza Hut.
Yeah, let me get a Sasquatch with cheese.
One squash coming up. Oh shit! You even got a Bigfoot on your shirt. How about them apples? I tell you, squatches everywhere. You think a Yeti is just a cooler? Think again.
It's funding Sasquatch guerrilla operations.
Here at Yeti, we know who the real outdoorsmen are, and we know you all don't even watch television. You're Yeti, Squatch, humble folk.
Please edit that in as a commercial. Some nice acoustic guitar in the background. Sasquatch. Gentle folk. Mountain people.
One of us.
You know, they said that Squatch done ate up, my mama and her whole side of the family. Yeah, so why did 13 people die in that Piggly Wiggly? Squatch is people too. You can't ignore that. He was scared. They came at him. He doesn't know that ramen is on sale. He just thought he could just chomp into that shit. So, you know, I've taken thousands of dollars out to do this ad campaign on behalf of Squatch. On behalf of the Squatch Nation.
Some of my best friends are Squatchers, so. Yeah, I get what I can.
I ain't a picky man, but I am a man.
Yeah,
Squatch man.
Squatch man, I like to help.
I wish I could quit you. Well, let's put a pin in this for the time being.
Yeah.
See if we can get Will to contribute to the conversation. But either which way, this is awesome. You gotta do this more with me.
Yeah, definitely.
And
As long as we can talk about different animals' penises, I'm on board.
well, thank you very much. And yeah, later, folks.